Today's narrative follows a similar plot, and we hope you enjoy it. Please note that all our stories are created for entertainment purposes only. I am Tammy, aged 29, and for the past 2 years, I have been happily married to William, who is 31. We had crafted a life together that was both joyful and steady, until a fateful day when everything took a drastic turn. I woke up to find that William had emptied the entire house and left, leaving me devastated and confused. I was unable to comprehend why he would suddenly depart without any explanation. Our once joyful and secure life had transformed into a whirlwind of confusion and heartache. I embarked on a desperate quest for answers, hoping to find closure and understanding amid the chaos. William and I had crossed paths at work 3 years ago. I was a new intern at the company where William held a managerial position. Working closely under his supervision led to us spending more time together, and this brought about a strong physical attraction. There was no denying his handsome appearance, and I could sense the way he looked at me and the impact I had on him. As time passed, we found ourselves collaborating on various projects, which allowed us to grow closer on a personal level. After dating for 8 months, we decided to tie the knot and begin our journey together. William received a lucrative offer from a rival company, doubling his current salary. He accepted the opportunity while I continued to work at my current job, anticipating a promotion. Everything seemed perfect, and our plans were falling into place. We decided to move into a larger house, fully aware that our combined income would make it affordable. We were enthusiastic about this new phase of our lives and the prospect of having more space for our future family. However, the sudden change in our financial situation brought its share of challenges, as we had to adjust to a higher cost of living. Nevertheless, we remained optimistic and committed to making it work, believing that better opportunities were waiting for us. 2 months after moving into our new home, I was promoted to a new role that was quite different from my previous one. The position demanded a steep learning curve and significant time investment. The pressure mounted, leading me to turn to alcohol as a means of stress relief. My stress drinking soon escalated into an obsession. Although William expressed concerns about my drinking habits, I brushed them off, falsely claiming that I had it all under control. Over time, my alcohol obsession took a toll not only on my physical health but also on my relationships and overall well-being. It became evident that I needed to seek assistance and address the underlying issues that led me to use alcohol as a coping mechanism. Recognizing William's concerns and acknowledging the seriousness of my obsession marked a vital step toward my recovery. I took a leave of absence from work to overcome my alcohol obsession. During my work hiatus, I enrolled in a rehabilitation program that equipped me with the necessary tools and support to conquer my obsession. Through therapy and counseling, I identified the root causes of my reliance on alcohol and developed healthier coping strategies. Although it was a challenging journey, with the guidance of professionals and the support of loved ones, I successfully overcame my obsession and regained control of my life. William proposed to me a year before our intended wedding date, and I gladly accepted. We got married, and even after witnessing my darkest times, he remained by my side. I realized he was a lifelong partner. As a married couple, we were enjoying the best moments of our lives. However, we were aware that both our wedding and my rehabilitation had put a dent in our financial progress. We discussed and agreed that I should return to work. I approached my company, which was willing to offer me the same position after a 6-month break. I resumed working and was assigned to a new project led by Dave. Although William had expressed his dissatisfaction with Dave, describing him as a cunning and manipulative boss, I chose to form my own opinion. I believed in giving everyone a fair chance, as perhaps Dave's leadership style was different from what William had experienced. On the first day of our project introduction, I met Dave. Despite being in his mid-40s, he maintained excellent physical fitness and looked remarkably youthful. His strategic thinking and preparation for the project impressed me from day one. I could see that many women on the team were attracted to him. As time passed, it became evident that Dave's appeal extended beyond his physical appearance. He possessed a charismatic personality that naturally drew people toward him. This was reflected in his ability to motivate the team effortlessly and create a positive work environment. Despite initial distractions, I soon recognized that his presence was a valuable asset to our project. Dave's capacity to inspire the team and foster a harmonious atmosphere played a pivotal role in maintaining focus and productivity. His valuable contributions would help us efficiently manage our time and stay on schedule for the project. Work had become quite hectic lately. I had to put in extra hours after my regular shift to cover for a coworker who took maternity leave right in the middle of a crisis. I hardly had the chance to sit down and have a proper conversation with William. He sarcastically mentioned that at least I wasn't drowning myself in alcohol and was happy to see me busy with work. I chuckled at his sarcasm and assured him that I was committed to handling the workload professionally. Despite the chaos, I expressed my disappointment about not being able to spend quality time with him but promised to make it up once things settled down at the office. William told me that as long as I was aware of this, he was content to see me occupied. I kissed him and said that I always cared and hoped to spend time with him, which was very true. William smiled and replied, "I know you're dedicated to your job, and I appreciate that. We have plenty of time together once things calm down." His understanding reassured me, and I couldn't wait for the day when we could finally enjoy uninterrupted quality time together. I thanked him for his support and understanding, assuring him that his encouragement meant a lot to me. I promised to prioritize our time together once the work situation improved and expressed my gratitude for his patience during this busy period. I also mentioned that I had been feeling a bit overwhelmed lately and appreciated his patience and understanding. William nodded sympathetically and said, "I understand how important your work is to you, but remember to take care of yourself too. We'll make sure to plan something special once everything settles down." His words made me even more grateful for his support and filled me with anticipation for the future. It had been an incredibly busy month. I was the one shouldering most of the responsibilities to complete the project. There were times when Dave would reach out to me outside of work hours to ensure we stayed on track and met our project deadline. This situation led to me bringing work home and spending a lot of time on my phone even after returning home, with Dave and me exchanging messages and calls at odd hours of the night. Sometimes, I'd even get up in the middle of the night to work if I couldn't sleep. Dave assured me that I could reach out to him any time, day or night, if I needed help so we could work together to complete the assignment. William complained a few times about my unusual working hours, even after coming home. I explained to him that it was just a phase and it would end once the project was finished. He wasn't thrilled with my late-night calls and messages to Dave, but I assured him that they were all work-related and necessary to keep him informed about my progress. I reassured William that once the project was done, I'd make our relationship a top priority and create more time for him. I emphasized that my dedication to work was temporary and essential for the project's success, promising to make it up to him once things settled down. As I got deeper into the project, Dave and I became more informal with each other. We often cracked jokes to relieve stress, and this informality extended to our calls and messages. We had inside jokes that only we understood, and we'd laugh at those references. People began spreading rumors about Dave and me becoming close, especially among the women. I could sense jealousy in their eyes whenever they saw us talking cordially. The rumors quickly spread and reached William's ears. One day, I came home to find William anxiously pacing, waiting for me. Without even putting my things away, he started asking questions. He wanted to know if something was going on between Dave and me. I assured him it was just baseless gossip driven by jealousy and there was no truth to any of the rumors. William didn't seem convinced. He said, "Where there's smoke, there's fire. If everyone thinks they see something, there might be some truth to it." He was upset because he'd always had a feeling that Dave was trouble. Maybe I should have kept my distance from him and how he manipulates people into situations that benefit him. I was already tired from work and couldn't keep my cool to discuss something that wasn't even real. I told William it was his choice whether to trust his wife or trust the people spreading these false rumors about his wife. I stormed off to our bedroom because I didn't want to waste my time on something so unimportant. I was mad at William for not trusting me more than his former colleagues. This led to a lot of arguments between us in the following days. William kept asking me who I was talking to, texting, and meeting. It didn't feel like he was coming from a positive or protective place but more like a detective interrogating a criminal. I told him we should maintain some distance if he was going to keep behaving like this. So, being the sulker he was, William stopped talking to me. He said if I respected our relationship, I would try to keep my distance from Dave. I found it ridiculous because Dave was my boss, and I had to interact with him minimally to do my job. The next day, I went to work in a bad mood, irritated with William for not trusting me and doubting my commitment to our relationship. Dave noticed and asked if I was okay. I gave him a fake smile and got back to work. After everyone left, Dave and I stayed behind to work on a report. He brought coffee and said he was willing to listen if I had something to share about what happened with William last night. Due to recent tensions, I started telling Dave about the argument with William. Dave listened patiently and assured me things would get better once they settled down. I felt grateful to Dave for listening, and suddenly I hugged him without thinking. It was a mistake, and there was a strange physical tension between us, which led to us kissing. We quickly realized what had happened and pulled away, feeling embarrassed. The incident created an awkward atmosphere between Dave and me, so we both agreed to give each other some space to process our emotions. We understood that addressing the situation was crucial to keeping our friendship intact and avoiding more complications. Things stayed awkward between Dave and me for a few days. William's silence didn't help either. I felt like there was no one to talk to about how I was feeling, which was mostly terrible. It was eating me up inside. My top priority was to mend things with William. Once that was sorted, I could clear my mind and handle other matters. Now it was mid-December, and our project was nearly complete. Work was getting a bit easier, so I took the initiative to repair my relationship with William. I cooked his favorite dinner and set the table just the way he liked it, hoping to reconcile and put our differences behind us. I knew William never liked Dave from the start, and that made it hard for him to see things objectively. Plus, there were rumors going around about me and Dave. I sat down with William and assured him that he was the only one I truly loved. Dave was just my boss, and I had to work with him until the project wrapped up. After that, I promised to join a different team to put William's mind at ease. This cleared up his doubts about me having an affair with Dave. It felt good to have an honest conversation with William and resolve our issues. I expressed my desire for our bond to grow stronger in the coming year. It made me happy to have patched things up with William. We discussed our future plans and agreed to keep communication open to ensure a smooth transition once the project was done. I conveyed my appreciation for his understanding and assured him that our personal relationship would remain strong and unaffected even though I changed teams. The annual New Year's party hosted by our company was approaching, and Dave suggested inviting William so that he could meet my colleagues and dispel any doubts he might have had. I thought it was a brilliant idea. I informed William that my boss had specifically requested that I attend a party with him, as he was eager to meet the man I often spoke about. My intention was to dispel any suspicions he had about me having an affair at work. I wanted us to enjoy the evening together as we used to. William also had former colleagues and friends from work attending the party, providing us with an excellent opportunity to reconnect and reminisce about the past. I looked forward to introducing William to my boss and co-workers, confident that they would witness our happiness and put any rumors or doubts to rest. It was crucial to me to reaffirm the strength of our relationship and have a worry-free evening. Prior to the event, I made sure to communicate with William and reassure him that the rumors of an affair at work were baseless. My goal was to make him feel secure in the relationship so that he could enjoy the evening without unnecessary concerns. Additionally, I believed that introducing William to my boss and colleagues would further solidify our bond and highlight our happiness together. As the night progressed, the drinks began to flow, and I found myself tasting alcohol after a long break. It felt refreshing, and I was confident that I could control my alcohol intake without falling back into obsession. I was seated between Dave and William, with William keeping a watchful eye on the number of drinks I consumed. It was quite a downer. It was New Year's Eve, and I wanted to have a good time without any nagging in the background. I understood that he was trying to prevent me from relapsing into obsession, but in that moment, I was too intoxicated to think clearly. I just knew that William was putting a damper on the party, so I turned to Dave and struck up a conversation with him. We were both extremely drunk and had lost our moral compass. I had flashes of that night when I accidentally kissed Dave. We decided to move past it and forget about it. After that, my memory is a blur. I woke up the next morning and realized that most of our belongings were gone. At first, I couldn't believe it was our own house. Nearly everything had vanished, and for a moment, I thought we had been robbed while we were asleep. I had a throbbing hangover and began searching for William. I walked through the house and noticed that not only was William gone, but everything except the bed was missing. I attempted to call William, but his phone was switched off. I hurriedly splashed some water on my face in an attempt to sober up. There was a note from William that read, "Congratulations on a new year with new beginnings and new people in life." I was left in shock. I couldn't tell if it was a prank or if this was actually happening. My mind raced with confusion and disbelief as I read the note repeatedly. Feelings of abandonment overwhelmed me, and I desperately looked for any clues or explanations hoping to make sense of this bewildering situation. My heart sank when I realized that William's note meant he had left me without any prior warning or explanation. Various questions rose through my mind, pondering why he would choose to start the new year by abruptly ending our relationship. The weight of uncertainty and sadness settled upon me, leaving me with a profound longing for closure and answers. I decided to sit down and try to recollect what might have caused William to change so drastically. I remember that we had started drinking shots, engaging in a friendly competition with Dave to see who could outdrink the other. I recall the events up to the fifth shot, but after that, my memory was blank. I debated whether I should contact Dave and ask him about the events of the previous night. Could he shed light on what had transpired and led to such a life-altering change overnight? Part of me considered the possibility that this might be an elaborate prank by William to ring in the new year in a dramatic fashion. I opted not to panic and decided to wait until evening to see how events unfolded before taking any action. Throughout the day, fragmented memories and blurry flashes began to resurface, but they were too disjointed to make sense of. I couldn't shake the feeling that something significant had happened, possibly related to William. However, I understood that jumping to conclusions without concrete evidence would only add unnecessary stress. I resolved to remain composed and patient, awaiting the evening when I could gather more information and devise a plan moving forward. While anxiously waiting for evening, I decided to distract myself by engaging in activities that might help clear my mind. I took a long walk in the park, hoping that the fresh air and tranquil surroundings would provide some much-needed clarity. Despite my best efforts, the fragments of memories continued to trouble me, leaving me feeling unsettled. Nevertheless, I reminded myself that taking impulsive actions without a clear grasp of the situation wouldn't be helpful, so I focused on maintaining my composure. In the evening, I called Dave and asked if we could meet for a brief conversation. I shared the location of a nearby cafe and suggested meeting in approximately 2 hours. Upon arriving at the cafe, I ordered a coffee to further sober up, hoping it might trigger any significant memories that could help me locate William. Dave entered and attempted to hug me, which struck me as rather odd. I responded with an awkward smile and took a seat across from him. Dave began by expressing his delight in the previous night's party and how it had been his most enjoyable formal gathering ever. He described it as a wild and unforgettable evening. He also inquired about the state of affairs between William and me, as William hadn't seemed too pleased by the end of the night. That was the moment of revelation I had been seeking. I requested Dave to provide me with a detailed account of what had transpired, as I had no recollection of the events. Dave hesitated momentarily and then proceeded to recount the events of the previous night in vivid detail. According to him, we had engaged in a shots competition, and William had tried to prevent me from drinking more. I had pushed him away, insisting that it was a night meant for enjoyment and celebration. I had a vague recollection of this, recalling my exclamation that the evening symbolized new beginnings as we bid farewell to the old year and embraced the promises of the new. Little did I know that this New Year's Eve would spiral into a night of chaos and heartbreak. As the clock struck midnight and fireworks illuminated the sky, my boss and I raised our glasses in a toast. I had no inkling that this innocent act of celebration would set in motion a chain of events that would turn my life upside down. Following a heated argument with William, he stormed out, leaving Dave behind to console me. As Dave spoke, I desperately tried to piece together my fragmented memories, hoping to uncover the truth of what had occurred. Dave and I engaged in conversation, and I began to vent my frustrations. Due to our intoxicated state, we both lacked sound judgment and ended up engaging in a physical encounter. When William returned after cooling down, he discovered us in that state. Understandably, he was furious and forcefully separated me from Dave. He then escorted me out of the club and waited for a taxi. Dave mentioned that this was all he witnessed and assumed we went home. I sat in silence for a while, attempting to process everything I had just heard and to see if I could recollect any additional details. Dave inquired about the status of my relationship with William. I lied, claiming it wasn't as bad as it seemed and that William had asked me to meet him to resolve our issues. Dave regarded me skeptically, sensing that I wasn't sharing the whole truth. He encouraged me to open up, assuring me of his support. Reluctantly, I decided to confide in Dave about the confusing and troubling situation with William, hoping that discussing my thoughts would bring some clarity to the chaos in my mind. As I poured out my feelings to Dave, he attentively listened, offering words of comfort and understanding. He reassured me that feeling overwhelmed was normal and seeking guidance was a sign of strength. Appreciative of his support, I started to feel a glimmer of hope that with Dave's assistance, I could navigate the complexities of my relationship with William. Reflecting on that pivotal night, I couldn't help but ponder how the boundaries between my personal and professional life had become so blurred. It all began innocently with a few drinks at a work-related New Year's Eve party, but it quickly spiraled out of control. My boss and I ended up quite drunk, and at that moment, any semblance of professional decorum seemed to vanish. So here I am, left with an empty house containing only a mattress and nothing more. It's been 2 days, and there's been no sign of William or any information about his whereabouts. I'm writing this in the hopes of receiving advice from anyone who has been in a similar situation. What should I do now? Should I file a missing person report? Did William leave voluntarily to clear his mind and create some distance between us, or is there a more concerning issue at play? I'm feeling overwhelmed and uncertain about how to proceed. Any guidance or support would be greatly appreciated. Based on your input, it seems that William might have wanted some space to sort things out on his own. Therefore, I've decided to respect his wishes and give him the space he seems to need. It's now been 3 months since William disappeared without a trace, and I still have no idea where he is. I tried contacting his workplace, but they informed me that he's been working remotely and couldn't provide any information on his location. Frustration and desperation for answers have led me to reach out to our mutual friends, hoping they might have some insights into William's whereabouts. However, even they are in the dark and haven't heard from him in months. The mystery surrounding his abrupt disappearance continues to deepen, leaving me with a lingering sense of unease and countless unanswered questions. I've written numerous emails to William, explaining my perspective and hoping he would read them. Unfortunately, he's blocked me on all other communication channels, making email my only remaining option. Additionally, handling the mortgage for the house on my own has become a challenging situation that I can't manage by myself. The bills, along with the few necessities I had to purchase since William took everything, have increased my expenses. Struggling to handle the growing financial strain, I considered seeking professional assistance or exploring alternative options to ease the financial pressure. In addition, the emotional weight of William's absence was overwhelming. I grappled with feelings of abandonment and uncertainty about our future together. I found a supportive friend in Dave, who partially felt responsible for how my life had turned out. I assured him that my situation was solely a result of alcohol and there was no one else to blame but myself. Dave listened attentively as I shared my regrets and mistakes, offering words of comfort and understanding. Despite his reassurances, I couldn't help but wonder if there was any truth to his sense of responsibility. However, Dave's unwavering support reminded me that true friendship means standing by each other through thick and thin, regardless of who bears the blame. As we continued our conversation, Dave shared his own struggles and errors, emphasizing that we all make choices that lead us down different paths. His empathy helped me understand that while he may have influenced some of my decisions, ultimately my own actions determined the outcome. Together, we pledged to support each other in making better choices and creating a brighter future. I was about to express my gratitude to Dave by hugging him when I heard William walk in. He accused me of faking not having an affair with Dave and claimed that he now had proof of my actions during his absence. He mentioned reading the emails I had sent him, thinking he might have been mistaken about the affair. Despite our attempts to explain and make him listen, William became agitated and unwilling to hear us out. He informed us that he had been keeping an eye on us and had noticed Dave's frequent visits to the house. He even suggested that Dave might have a spare key to the house. This accusation angered me. I expressed my frustration, telling him that I was tired of being accused of something I hadn't done. I made it clear that if he continued in this manner, he could leave the house because I wouldn't keep proving my innocence to him. William chuckled at my reaction, mocking me for being a convincing actor, and then he departed. I collapsed on the floor, tears streaming down my face, shocked by the shallowness of William's character. 6 months had passed since my last argument with William. I had hoped that he would reflect on our situation and come back to me after I had vented my feelings. However, I was mistaken. His behavior had only worsened. He continued sending letters claiming to have knowledge of everything between Dave and me. I decided that the best response was to ignore him, believing that would be the most satisfying reaction to his attempts to provoke me. Over time, the frequency of his letters decreased, and I assumed he had finally understood my stance. One evening, I returned home from work late and sorted through the mail. I saw a mysterious letter aside to check later. As I reviewed my bills, the handwriting on the letter was unmistakably William's. My curiosity got the better of me, and I quickly opened it. The letter began with, "To my loving wife," and my heart raced with anticipation. With a hopeful smile, I tore the letter open only to find divorce papers inside. My hands trembled as I read the contents, struggling to comprehend what I was witnessing. Shocked and speechless, a mix of emotions swirled within me, including anger, confusion, and sadness. I tried to make sense of what had gone wrong in our marriage and why William had chosen this path. The reality of the situation weighed heavily on me, and I knew that our lives were about to undergo a significant transformation. I searched the letter for an address, hoping to gain insight into William's whereabouts. Perhaps if we could sit down and have a conversation, things might take a different turn. Despite everything William had put me through, all I really wanted was to make an effort to save our marriage. I never intended for events to unfold like this, but the consequences of that New Year's Eve have made me acutely aware of how it has impacted my personal life. My life took a complete turn after one small incident of getting drunk and kissing my boss. I never expected William to react by becoming passive-aggressive and simply abandoning me without a word or seeking an explanation. Now I'm struggling to cope with the aftermath of that night, desperately trying to repair my marriage and understand why William reacted so drastically. It's disheartening to realize that one seemingly innocent mistake can unravel the trust we had built over the years. It's a harsh reminder of the importance of setting clear boundaries between our professional and personal lives. Facing this hard truth, I've come to understand the need to establish clear boundaries between my work and personal life. The mix of alcohol, work, and personal relationships had unexpected and devastating consequences. I've learned the hard way that blurring these boundaries can seriously affect my well-being in relationships. I'm determined to make changes and prioritize my well-being. This experience has awakened me to the need for a healthier balance between my work and personal life. I've decided that I won't let William or anyone else undermine my self-worth. I made some mistakes, but that doesn't make me a bad person or a cheater. I did kiss my boss when I was vulnerable, but if William had just talked to me and tried to understand my feelings, maybe all of this could have been avoided. I'm not here to blame anyone for how my life turned out. This is me venting and using this post as a reminder that you never know when someone might turn their back on you. To all the women out there, if your partner doesn't care about your feelings, I'd advise you to put on your sneakers and walk away. The relationship isn't worth it if you won't try to see things from your perspective or understand why you did what you did. I'm not here to generalize about all men, it's just one significant red flag to watch out for in my opinion. I'm still hopeful and positive about leading a happy and fulfilling life without depending on anyone else for my happiness. That's the lesson I'll take away from this roller coaster of a year. What do you think of our story today? The situation is controversial, and the man should have talked and discussed his girlfriend's actions before doing anything about it. What's your opinion? Write in the comments until new videos.